Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, the BRICS nations, the New World Order. Together they represent 42% of all humans on this planet, 26% of all the money on this planet, and more than 16% of global growth. The rise of BRICS is probably one of the most important geopolitical shifts of the century. Ignore it at your peril. And with 13 countries on the waiting list to join BRICS, it poses a serious challenge to the existing international American-led order, most particularly to the US dollar and the unipolar order. And yes, it's going to have massive effects on markets, money, metals, crypto, all of it. A new world order is in the making. For better or worse, change is coming. And if you don't believe me, listen to Xi Jinping talking to Vladimir Putin recently.
Как раз сейчас перемены, которые не было в течение 100 лет. Там, где вместе двигаем эти перемены. Берегите, пожалуйста, дорогие.
Look, we could be quickly moving towards what some are already calling one world, two systems, right? And it will be the biggest political and monetary shift in decades, probably since the fall of the Soviet Union. By the way, Russia just announced that they will be increasing their use of the Chinese yuan in international trade with partners in Latin America, Africa, Asia, and beyond. A major blow to the dollar-dominated order already. And then we have Brazil that came out and they announced that they're going to start settling all trade with China in their national currency, so trades in yuan and Brazilian real, thus again sidestepping the US dollar completely. And then there is this bombshell. The GDP of the BRICS group has now surpassed that of the G7 group of countries. That's of course Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Look at the numbers, look at the trends, look at the direction everything's going in. This gap, by the way, is only expected to widen as time goes by since these BRICS nations are growing at such a fast rate. But let's keep it simple to start with here. Who are the members of BRICS and what does each bring to the table? First, let's talk about Brazil, the B in BRICS, the 6th most populous country in the world at 212 million people. Brazil is also the 8th biggest oil producer in the world. It is a major food exporter and industrial powerhouse. Then we have Russia, the R in BRICS, right? It's the 9th most populous country in the world at 145 million people. Russia is also the 3rd biggest oil producer in the world, as well as a major exporter of timber, iron, gold, diamonds, food, metals, all kinds of stuff. India, the I, it is the 2nd most populous country just behind China, although that's about to flip and they'll be the most populous country in the world at 1.4 billion people. India is a rising star in the global economy with a huge base in manufacturing, a huge base in engineering, and it's the 5th biggest economy in the world. Then there is China. Most populous country right now, 1.41 billion people, and they make basically everything, man. China is the 2nd biggest economy on Earth and largely predicted to overtake the USA as being the world's biggest economy by the end of the decade. Then there's South Africa, 25th most populous country at 60 million people. It's also the 3rd biggest economy in Africa, as well as being a major producer of a variety of different commodities from metals and beyond. And while currently there are only 5 members in BRICS, the grouping is about potentially to undergo a massive expansion phase. There are currently at least 13 different countries interested in joining the BRICS group. The number could be as high as even 20 though. Now 3 have officially applied at the time of recording this video. Other applications are expected to come in soon. Iran put in their application to join BRICS last year. They have a population of 88 million people. They're the 10th biggest oil producer in the world and the 4th largest country by proven oil reserves. Then we have Argentina, population 45 million. It is one of the biggest countries in South America. Of course, it's also a major exporter of food products like soy, corn, citrus, sunflower seeds, oil, cotton, wheat, and beef. It also ranks as a top 10 producer for almost all of those categories. Then there's Algeria, population 45 million people. It is the 3rd country to officially apply to join BRICS. It also has the 11th biggest reserves of natural gas in the world, and it is the 18th biggest producer of oil in the world. Now, 3 more countries are widely thought to be formally applying in the very near future. The first of these is Saudi frickin' Arabia, man. One of the biggest oil producers in the world and the 2nd biggest country by oil reserves on Earth right now. Oh, and China, they just brokered a peace deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran. I guess if they're both going to be members of the BRICS group, then they really should be playing nice. Here China is. Peace is breaking out in the Middle East thanks to China. The second country is Egypt, population 110 million, the second biggest economy in Africa right now. And the third country is Turkey, population 85 million people, 19th largest economy in the world, and a major player sitting at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, East and West. Major trade routes controlled through Turkey as well. Also the oddball out, since it's also a NATO member, but they've always been the oddball out in NATO anyway. Other countries widely rumored to be looking to join include Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Kenya, Mexico, Nigeria, the United Arab Emirates, and Thailand, all of which are powerhouses in terms of population, economy, business, natural resources, etc., etc. Like if all these countries join, it's insanity. And of course, you're going to notice on this list, not a single country from the West has applied. No one from Europe. Not any Western umbrella countries either in the Pacific like Australia, New Zealand, or Japan. The lines are being drawn very clearly, and the existing centers of power are being excluded from that. And while some may think that, well, BRICS is just an economic union, the truth is that the scope of what BRICS is looking to do could be nothing short of a new freaking world order. But before we get into all of that, if you are a cryptocurrency investor, then you definitely need to sign up to my weekly crypto newsletter. It's called Wealth Mastery. Look, my team and I spend like 40 hours a week, every week, finding the best alpha on altcoins and airdrops and reviewing altcoins and doing DeFi tutorials, finding the best NFTs, all that stuff. We can pack it into an easy 10-minute to read newsletter for you. Straight to your inbox. Super convenient. Sign up for free and join our 64,000 weekly readers by using that link down below in the description. Now let's talk about the new world order, man. First, BRICS is soon to be the dominant player for most commodities in the world. This is like crazy when you understand it. Oil, gas, food, you name it. BRICS will be controlling most of the manufacturing globally as well, and BRICS will control most of the world's population. BRICS is going to be able to call the shots in a lot of different markets. They're going to control the oil markets, they're going to control the food markets, they're going to control the means of production, largely globally, and they will represent the majority of the global population. Like, this is crazy stuff when you start to understand all the numbers and what they potentially mean. Now, especially, of course, if we see those potential member countries end up actually joining, which a lot of them are applying to do, it's going to make it even crazier. Second, BRICS is going for the throat of the USA global-led order, and they're going after, in particular, the US's number one weapon and asset, the dollar. When the war broke out in Ukraine, the response of the West was to seize hundreds of billions of dollars from the Russian state. Right or wrong, that was the shot heard around the financial freaking world. In countries like China, Saudi Arabia, others, they paid attention real quick because they have a lot of money also sitting in Western banks, and they are vulnerable to the US-led system. China and the other BRICS nations, they have been buying up gold at a faster pace than at any time in recent history. We also have a BRICS currency, which has been widely rumored to be being launched soon. They've been talking about it for a while, but the real blow, of course, to the US dollar would be what Saudi Arabia is going to do. See, Saudi Arabia is going to start accepting currencies other than the dollar in exchange for their oil. I imagine other major oil producers in BRICS will follow. This will effectively bring an end to the petrodollar. That then brings into question the reserve currency status of the US dollar. Why does everyone need to have dollars if you don't need to buy oil anymore? There is a reason that non-Western central banks are mad stacking gold right now. Think about it. Third, the BRICS Bank. You see, the BRICS group has launched the new development bank, essentially the BRICS Bank, which is intended as a direct challenge to the Western-dominated IMF and World Bank. Fourth, we see joint military stuff finally starting to happen. BRICS, it's more than just an economic alliance. We're seeing that already. Military drills are soon to be carried out in South Africa, with South Africa, China, and Russia all participating in that. Iran, not yet a member, but is sending warships over to Brazil. Lots of stuff's happening, right? And despite the many successes of the BRICS group, though, there are, of course, still a number of challenges that these member countries actually do face, right? So it's not all just, BRICS is going to take over immediately, everything's going to be great. Well, the main challenge, of course, is the fact that the economies of the BRICS countries are quite different from one another, right? And there are often, let's just say, significant differences in terms of the development, the infrastructure, the economic policy, the goals of these different countries, right? The values of the different countries. Another challenge facing the BRICS group is the fact that the member countries are all major players on the global stage, and they often have quite competing interests and agendas, although they do seem to be coming together on leading an anti-dollar coalition. But this can still make it difficult for the group to achieve consensus on a whole variety of key issues. It can also lead to tension and conflict within the group, right? Again, lots of competing ideologies and intents, right? Now, despite these challenges, the BRICS group does remain a very important force right now in the global economic landscape, and it is likely to continue to play a key role shaping the future of the global economy for the rest of the century if they are successful in what they're intending to do. They have large, rapidly growing economies. The BRICS countries are super well positioned right now to take on a leadership role in the global economic system and can be a rallying point for many of the sidelined countries in the global south. And they're also likely to continue to be a major player in the years ahead in just basically every industry and commodity you can imagine. We may very well be heading for that one world, two systems scenario. What do you think? Will BRICS become a major player on the world stage? Or are they too different, too divided? It's all gonna be a bit of a nothing burger. Curious to hear your opinion down below in the comment section. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe now. I'll see you next time.